Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome everyone. Jazakumullah for arriving early and waiting patiently. So as usual, we will start our class with the opening prayer. And for the opening prayer, can I have G3670?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. How are you today?
Alhamdulillah, good. How are you?
I'm fine too. Jazakallah for asking. Okay, start with ta'awuz.
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربي زدني علما.
Oh, okay. Don't prolong the ba. Rabbi.
Okay. Rabbi zidni ilma.
Excellent.
O my Lord, increase me in knowledge. Taha 115.
Jazakillah sunal jaza.
So Jazakumullah.
Jazakillah. Allah Hafiz for now. So today is lesson 33 of this term, and as usual on Fridays we have breakout rooms. So that's what we are going to have, and we'll try to listen to as many students as possible. I'll quickly remind everyone about the class etiquettes. I'm sure by now everyone knows what they are, but it's always good to have reminders. So I hope that everyone did wuzu before joining the class. I hope that everyone is wearing clean clothes. Make sure that your head is covered with a scarf or a cap, and make sure that you're sitting in a quiet place. If you're going to get a turn on the mic, it is important that your teachers and your fellow students can hear you clearly. Okay, otherwise we might have to mute you and you might not be able to get a turn. So just make sure you're sitting in a quiet place. Next, we hope that a parent or an elder sibling is sitting with you to help you with anything if needed. And lastly, make sure that you have joined with the correct ID. So you can check right now by clicking on the participants, and you'll see right at the top which name you have joined with. If it's not your student ID, if it's your device name or your personal, if it's your device name or your own name, make sure to rename yourself to your student ID so that we can call you on the mic. Okay, so today, before we break out into smaller rooms, we are going to do this knowledge quest activity. So this activity was assigned yesterday as part of the homework and on Wednesday as well. So I hope that a lot of the students managed to take part in this activity and complete it. Okay, so if you have done this activity, if you know the answer, raise your hands. Okay, I can see a few hands going up. Let's start with G3521. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine too. Jazakillah for asking. Okay, so let me read out the question first.
Okay.
So the question for the quest was, how many examples of waw mad or waw of elongation are there in Surah Ar-Rahman verses 1 to 56? Okay, so waw mad, this is a rule that was covered over the course of this week. We have 3 letters of elongation or 3 mad letters, and they are blank alif, waw sakin, and ya sakin. And for waw sakin to be identified as a waw mad, it has to be preceded by a madmoom letter. Okay, a madmoom letter is just any letter which is carrying the stroke of dhamma. Okay, so go on, G3521.
So the Well, second, it comes 9 times. 2 in verse 10, 3 in verse 34, 1 in verse 42, 1 in verse 44, and 2 in verse 45.
Okay, excellent. Well done. So I think most of your answer was correct, like pretty much all of it. Just at the start, you said verse 10, right?
Yes.
Okay, so can you see verse 10 on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm guessing that this one and this one, you thought that they are waw mad. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so it is a very common thing. I thought that a lot of students will get confused because there are quite a lot of blank vows in Surah Ar-Rahman. Okay, but remember what I said at the start. For waw mad or waw of elongation, for it to be considered a waw mad, it has to be sakin. Okay? First, it
Okay.
has to be sakin. It has to carry the sign of sukoon. Do you know what this is the sign of sukoon? Okay, and then the second condition is that the previous letter should have a dhamma. Okay,
Okay.
yeah, and the remaining answer, the whole answer was correct. So let's see. You said there are 3 examples in verse 34.
Yes.
Well done, that is absolutely correct. Then there's 1 in verse 42.
Yes.
It's right here. And then in verse 44, and there are 2 in verse 45. So there are actually 7 times. Okay, just the 2 extra that you added, they were blank vows. Okay, yeah, and blank letters, we just ignore them. They are not pronounced when we are actually reciting the Holy Quran. So we just say wala tukhsirul mizan. We are joining the ra straight to the lam sakin. Okay, and the same applies here as well.
Okay.
Okay, so would you like to read some of these examples that are on the screen right now?
Okay. Tanfuzu.
Okay, very good.
Wal ardi fanfuzu. La tanfuzun.
Okay, Jazakallah. So you recited very well, mashallah. Just one thing. Here, you have to conceal the sound of noon. Okay, so we covered the rules of noon sakin. And you applied it nicely here, the rule. But I think you missed here. So just remember that.
Okay.
Okay, well done. Jazakillah sunul jaza for taking part. Okay, Allah Hafiz. I'll pick one more student for the remaining examples. G3519, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Okay, could you please recite these remaining examples? Make sure to apply the rule of waw mad.
Yes. يعرف المجرمون فيها المجرمون يدون.
Okay, Jazakallah sunul jaza. So you applied the rule correctly. Can you tell everyone, if you remember, what the rule of waw mad is? Waw of elongation.
It's a nasal sound, but I forgot its name.
Okay, it's not a nasal sound. What we have to do. So what we have to do on mad letters or letters of elongation is we have to prolong them for 2 seconds. Okay, so that's the rule of waw mad, and the same applies to alif mad and ya mad as well. Okay, we have to prolong them for 2 seconds. Okay, so that's it for the activity. We'll open the breakout rooms now. Just a reminder, if for whatever reason you get disconnected from the class or mistakenly leave your breakout room, then the way to join it again would be to find this icon, which looks like a Windows icon. It might be at the top of the screen or the bottom of the screen, depending on the device you're using. But once you find it and you click on it, you should be able to join your breakout room. Okay, so can I request the ST to please open the breakout rooms now? Okay, so the breakout rooms have been opened. Kindly click on the join button and your teacher should be there to listen to your hifz.
Welcome back to the main session. Just before we end our class, I would like to remind all the students regarding their homework. So for the next week, you need to memorize Surah Ar-Rahman, verse 47 to 56, and revise from verse 1 to 46. There is no knowledge quest this week, but make sure to remember, to memorize your homework. Now for the ending prayer, I would like to call a student. Can I request G3670 to unmute their mic?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
How are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. You can start the prayer.
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم ارحمني بالقرآن العظيم. Oh Allah, have mercy on me through the Quran the Great. وَاجْعَلْهُ لِي إِمَامًا وَنُورًا وَهُدًى وَرَحْمَةً. And make it for me the leader, the light, the guidance, and the mercy. Jazakumullah.
Jazakumullah. That's the end of our class. Inshallah, we'll see you next week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.